Good evening, Facebook family, YouTube family, Instagram family, Twitter family, and everyone else that may be catching this particular platform on your streaming services. This evening, I have a wonderful show straight from the source with David Mitchell. Tonight, my guest on the show is going to be Noah Thomasson. He is a 6'4" combination guard, played primarily point guard, but can play the two guard as well. A left-hander, very crafty, very smooth, very intelligent young man with incredible leadership skills. Played for the University of Georgia. We're going to go over his career, okay? He just signed a contract this week as we speak with the Turkish Professional League in Turkey, going overseas. So proud of him. And he's also going to be joined on the show tonight by his dad, right? My cousin on this show with his son. So this is very special to my heart. Leon Thomasson, absolutely. Those from the 937 already know, a Dayton, Ohio legend who played at Roth High School, Nettie Lee Roth, set all kinds of records over there. And after his high school career, went on to play at Texas Southern University and starred in football. And then from there, played in the NFL with the Atlanta Falcons. And so we're going to touch on all of that. And so without further ado, we're going to take our time, have a little fun. You guys get ready, and here we go. Let me introduce to the show, just for starters, Noah Thomasson. How you doing, Noah?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing wonderful, doing wonderful. I appreciate you being on the show. I just want to take it like this, right? For starters, before we bring Dad in, I got a couple of little things I want to ask you. What was it like having a father by your side and a mother, your whole family, basically, to guide you on your journey? And can you take us back how it started for you with the basketball? Who was the first to put the ball in your hand on through AAU just a little bit? And what was it like to have that kind of support? Because that's why I wanted him to be on the show along with you.
I was blessed, to have a great supporting cast from my mom and my dad. They've been supportive the entire way. They never try to, make decisions for me. They just support me as much as possible. To your question of who put the ball in my hand first, it's actually funny because my mom is a huge basketball person. She probably watches basketball more than me and my dad. It's not even probably. I know she does. She knows all the players and the stats, and she critiques people's game all the time. So probably when I was like a little child, running around in diapers, she would always have a game on. We either were watching the game or cartoons. So she put the ball in my hand, and then we just kind of went from there. We started playing AAU basketball in the Houston area, and then, eventually got to high school and then college, and now this new chapter of my life being a professional.
Wow. Shout out to Mom. We appreciate you, Mom, putting that ball in his hand. Absolutely. Nothing like that. I've heard that several times on the podcast, that there's a lot of time it's that mother that either she played ball, or even if she didn't, she knew that it would be something that would be very, very constructive, hopefully, for their child. And they the one put the ball in their hand. Well, that's good to know. Let's get Dad on here now. I got that answer out the way. You guys, welcome to the show. Straight from the source, Dayton, Ohio's own legend, Roth High School's own Leon Thomasson. How you doing, Leon?
What's up, cuz? How you doing? What's up, Noah, the show?
What's good, Pops? How you doing?
The show is on the show. We appreciate y'all. Y'all don't know, that's the nickname. Noah's nickname is the show. Noah, the show, Thomasson. Make sure that you, we'll make sure that you get all this information. We'll get that posted up so that everyone can follow Noah along his new journey. Now, as we get going here, you are a 6'4" combination guard, as I see it, because I believe you can play the point as well as the two guard, Noah, right? You started out your career at the University of Houston Baptist, which is now Houston Christian University. And then from there, you went to the junior college ranks, okay, at Butler, Kansas Community College, okay, Butler County, Kansas Community College. Now, from there, you go on to Niagara University, and at Niagara University, you star. You become a 20-point per game scorer, first team All-MAC in the league. Then you transfer to the University of Georgia. You also become their leading scorer, point guard extraordinaire. Tell us a little bit about your journey. How did it start? I know you were late being recruited. We're going to talk about that later for kids that's being over-recruited. You get one scholarship offer. Take us back to that point, Noah, when you started back at Houston Baptist.
Well, before I went to HBU, kind of going back to high school, like I said, man, I kind of bloomed really late. My freshman year, I was on the freshman A team. My sophomore year, I started out on junior varsity, and then I finally got moved up to varsity after a couple of games. And then, my junior year, I was okay. I wasn't, special, or, I knew I could be a good college player. I didn't know what level I could play at yet. And then my senior year, I just killed it. I mean, I averaged 20 points a game. We went to the round 5 playoffs. And then during that historical run, Houston Baptist, Ron Cottrell called me and he offered me a scholarship. And then, probably a month later, we jumped on it and committed, a chance for me to stay at home. At the time I thought was the best situation for me. And my mom would get to see me play. My dad was living in Atlanta at the time, but, he still could watch me play on TV and try to catch some games as much as possible. But we get there and it was a learning opportunity for me, going from being a man to being a freshman again and having to learn the ropes, of what it is to be a good college basketball player. There's many ups and downs. Times I was late to stuff and, not doing what I was supposed to do, but I looked at it as an opportunity for me to grow and become a better basketball player and a better human being. Obviously, my time there was very short just because of, situations. It wasn't like it was a bad school. I just needed to get away from home. I've been under my mom's roof and been at home with her for 18 years of my life. And at that point, she felt like it and I felt like it was time for me to have a change of scenery. And it's funny that, I picked junior college because I wanted a chance to restart my career a little bit and kind of, build that brand. But also another reason was we couldn't transfer and play right away at the Division I level. The rule had not came into play yet. So what I did not want to do was go to another school and have to sit out a year and then try to go in and prove myself to these coaches. So I felt like it was best to, put my head down and go work, go to junior college, and then we figure out from there. So.
Wow. So Houston Baptist. Then from there now, you go back and you say, well, okay, I'm going to junior college. Tell us a little bit, because I know you love talking about it, your experience over there at Butler County. Now, talk a little bit about that, because for those that's listening, the Kansas Jayhawk, in terms of that conference in junior college basketball, is one of the most powerful conferences in all of the nation. Speak on that, Noah, a little bit.
Like I said, we entered the transfer portal. It was during COVID, so it was definitely a harder process for me, just because I wasn't really able to go visit any schools. Everything was on Zoom, and we were cooped up in the house the entire time. So I got recruited by almost every junior college in the country. It was a crazy process at the time. We were down to Chipola Junior College in Florida, Butler Community College in Kansas, and Collin Junior College in Dallas. Originally, the plan I was going to go to Chipola Junior College, but their coach Foley ended up going to University of Buffalo. So that kind of went out of play. So then I said, hey, I'm just going to stay at home in Dallas, Texas. You know, my mom had just moved to Dallas. She wasn't really there yet, but, you know, still being by some family, but not being in Houston anymore was cool with me. But, you know, my mom, like I said, is some reason she just knows when it's the best opportunity, the best situation. She said, no, I'm not going to let you do that. I think you need to go to Butler Community College. I think you have the best chance there to get what you're looking for, you know, trying to go to another school where you can play and, you know, be in a good situation. So she kind of made that decision for me to go to Butler, and it was the best decision ever. You know, I remember my first day when I got there, I knew it was going to be tough being 9 hours away from home, but, you know, it felt like home, you know. The people there are so nice. You know, the facilities are nice. It's almost like a Division I school. Football games are rocking, and we're talking about during COVID. So, you know, we don't know what the season is going to look like at this point in time. We don't know when we're going to play. We don't know even if we are going to play. All I know is I was at a school where I was finally happy and I liked being there. So I'll say, you know, Butler Community College will always be a home for me. I'm proud to be an alum from there. You know, I got my associate's degree from there. So, you know, I rock with Butler Community College. Even though my coach is no longer there, he's at Hutch, but I'm always going to be a Butler Grizzly. So.
Absolutely. You know, I was out at Garden City Community College in that same conference. It's wonderful out there, and you're right. They really treat you good, and they're really into their sports out there because it's what it is. You know, it ain't a lot to do out there. It's
right.
Like, let's play basketball. Y'all shouldn't be able to focus on nothing else but your education in basketball, because that's all we got in town.
Right. I tell people all the time, my dad's been up there to El Dorado before. Man, they shut the town down like at 7:00 when there's games.
Yes.
And we're talking about during COVID where we're not supposed to have fans, but the fans are still coming to our games. And like everything closes for a sporting event. It doesn't matter what sport it is. If it's golf, tennis, volleyball, those fans are going to be on somewhere watching the game or at the game. Like I said, you go into town, go to different restaurants, and all the fans know you. They want to take pictures. It was a great experience, and it was a tough year basketball wise, because we played a lot of dudes that could just really play. Like you said, it's one of the best leagues, if not the best league in junior college. You know, the year I was there, Coffeyville and Cali College played each other in a national championship game, and they were on the same side as us, the Jayhawk East. So just to show you this, you know, it's just different in that in the junior college ranks. So
as you got recruited, right? Moving into your recruitment from the junior college ranks, go over that a little bit about how it went and why you chose Niagara University.
Well, like I said, another process that went slow. The good thing was I was used to it. You know, the first time really being recruited was when I entered the portal the first time, you know, where a lot of schools, everybody's calling. But in this situation, you know, because of COVID, a lot of Division I teams could not get out and recruit. So it kind of hindered that process because, you know, they just couldn't see me. You know, they could watch me on film and, you know how it is when it's on film. You don't know how tall this guy really is, how fast he is. You know, it's just different. So, you know, I got recruited by a couple schools, UW Milwaukee in the Horizon League, Prairie View A&M in the SWAC, UTRGV, and then Niagara. And, you know, we did Zooms with, you know, different schools, UW Milwaukee, Prairie View A&M, and Niagara. And, you know, my dad and my mom were on all of these Zooms, and they just said, like, you know, you're not going to Prairie View. So we can go and get that out of the, you know, we can narrow those down right now. And, you know, we can pick out of UW Milwaukee and Niagara. And, you know, I picked Niagara just because Greg Paulus played point guard at Duke. And, you know, my assistant coach, Kevin Devitt, he coached my cousin, Joe Thomasson, who's playing overseas right now. And he recruited me in high school in a small back gym in Dallas, Texas. And, you know, I didn't have any offers. He brought me to his elite camp at UAB where he was at the time. And my dad was there for that. I was doing what I was supposed to do. And, you know, he told me he couldn't offer me. They didn't have any more scholarships. So just that relationship from then, you know, it just was a big factor. And I'm really big on relationships. If you're my guy, I'm gonna rock with you no matter what. You know what I mean? Like, when you're recruiting me, something I tell coaches all the time, it's not about the facilities. It's not about, what kind of apartment I'm gonna be living in. It's about who you are as a person and how close can we connect in that short amount of time. So the staff at Niagara, we really connected well. And I knew that the basketball culture was kind of like Duke because that's where my head coach played at. So we picked Niagara and we headed up to Niagara Falls, New York.
Wow. Listen, and then when you got up there, once again, for those that's listening, in those seasons that he spent there, in those 2 seasons, I think he went from like 15, 16 points a game to 20 points per game. First team all conference out there and put on a fantastic show. Definitely was probably the team leader in minutes played. He's played a lot of minutes in his career. And you see the journey that we taking you guys on. This has been a young man that had a different kind of journey. And it's been one that's been like incredible. Because from there, now, let me stay right on Niagara. I'll be remiss if I didn't. Did you ever hear of a young man that played basketball there by the name of Leon Blaylock?
No. The history of Niagara is so great that there's so many great names that you kind of look over just because of the lineage and the history behind it. I mean, we're talking about Larry Costello, NBA Hall of Famer, Calvin Murphy, played for the Houston Rockets, a guy that I grew up watching on TV with the crazy suits every single day. Hubie Brown played there. So we're talking about guys that could play. You know what I mean? So like me, I'm probably top 20 all-time leading scorer there in my 2 years there, and it might take 30 years for me to get in the Hall of Fame. That just shows you just of how the program is, and it's why I love it. It was leaving Niagara was one of the hardest things in my life. I didn't want to leave. You can ask my dad. I Lord, if I'm lying, strike me down. I did not want to leave. I cried like a baby. So, but it was great just because of the ups and downs that I had. My first year I averaged 10 points a game. So you gave me a little too much credit. 15. I wish I'd averaged 15, but I averaged about 10 points a game. And I struggled in a lot of those games when I first got there, just trying to find my footing and my rhythm. And, I had a great teammate who was kind of like my big brother. His name's Marcus Hammy from Queens, New York. He ended up transferring to Notre Dame. So to work with a guy that's similar to me, left-handed, 6'3", 6'4", not really athletic, and kind of learn how to be a pro, because I felt like he had a pro mentality when we were in college. He was going to work out every day before practice, and he's going to work out after practice. And it was kind of like, hey, Noah, you coming with me. Like he wasn't going to let me make bad decisions. It'd be days where guys would go out and he's in the gym and he's like, Noah, come, let's go play one-on-one. You know what I mean? So once after about 15, 16 games in, I remember we were playing Manhattan in New York, and it was my breakout game. I'll say it like it was probably one of my better games in my career at that time. I got my first in-game dunk in college, and you could just see my confidence just skyrocket. I mean, like now we're talking about having games where I'm scoring 20, 23, 25, and it wasn't even my role to score, but I was just playing with so much confidence. I shot the ball better. So I'll say, a lot of kudos to him just to, telling me like, dude, you can score just like I can too. You just got to believe in yourself, and you're not at Houston Baptist anymore where if you miss a shot, you might not play for 2 games. So, we need you to be the best version of you to win. So, and, after that, I just kind of took off with it. So.
Wow. Yeah, it looks like with your attitude, you became such a great leader. And, like I said, you play crafty, you have the nickname, the show, but you don't have to score the basketball, but you score the basketball when asked to score the basketball. So it's sort of like whoever you're playing for and what the system is, you are absolutely a team player,
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I started out as being a facilitator at Niagara. It was not my role to score. I used to feel like if I took 8 shots in a game, that was too many, but I came to a program that had 10 returners, and I was like one of the only new guys that actually played that year. So they already had their roles, and I felt like I'm that last piece to plug it in and try to get to the NCAA tournament. And so, at first I was trying to be passive and just kind of fit in, not really stand out. And they had a team meet, like we had a team meeting. Our backup point guard who started the year before I came in, Shandon Brown, shout out to Shandon Brown. He told me, dude, we need you to be the best version of yourself to win. So he picked me up full court every day. I used to tell my dad, like, oh, he fouls me crazy. He talks so much trash to me. And I'm from Texas. So they used to make fun of how I talked a little bit. And they're from New York, so they talk a certain way. But those dudes, like I said, they were really great people. From Jordan Cintron, the Greg Kwakamensa, all those dudes that were a lot older than me, they helped me out a lot. And I'll say I wouldn't be in the position I am today without those dudes.
Well, that's what's up. It sounds like you've gotten that mentorship and you listen. That's what makes you such a good leader today. And shout out to your teammate. Like you say, he instilled something in you that made you go to a whole nother level. Now, let's bring Dad in before we finalize. We got to go back and we'll talk a little bit here about Georgia. What was it, Leon, that you thought, and for those who just might be joining or going to watch the broadcast later, this is Leon Thomasson. This is the father of Noah, who was a tremendous high school football player at Ross High School in Dayton, Ohio, and later played for Texas Southern University and then in the NFL with the Atlanta Falcons. Leon, take us back to when Noah now at this point, he's looking to be going through another recruiting process.
You're talking about the Georgia situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what? Selfishly, I wanted him here because it's 80 miles from me, obviously. And my family, all my people, they live. My mother lives here and I have cousins here. My mother, she lived in Dayton, but she's back. So I was able to, get up there and see all the games. And when they went to Auburn, I was able to go. So selfishly, I wanted, to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And he had tough choices, because he had a few other teams that were recruiting him. And he liked Pittsburgh, and it might have been a better fit for him. But he's a family guy, and he wanted to be close to family. And so that was part of it. And that coach, Mike White, he called me every day, man. He called me every day. And he was kind of nervous. And I said, look here, man, the kid is going to go on all his visits. He's going on them. So, Coach, you just be patient, man. I think you're going to be fine. How we looking, Dad? So and they put the full court press on it. And I'll tell you a story. We had a personal family situation that involved Noah's family that was real difficult. And because of how those guys were, they really, really, really supported them and the family throughout all that. And it was big. So we felt like we made a good choice as far as the family atmosphere. So that was really what was it, man.
Yeah, so it was about really, you was hoping, praying, he stay at home, the whole nine. I want him in Georgia. I
hadn't had it. He was at home with his mother the first year, and then he was off to Kansas and New York. And I think he wanted to have some people at his game too. It made it. He's a family guy, man. He doesn't do a whole bunch other than play basketball. So,
And family's first and foremost. And
yes,
even though
no doubt,
we go through these crises in life, what better way to go through a crisis with having your family there?
No doubt,
for real. Stay home and play at the same time. So that's good to know. And that was the main thing that kept you and you making this choice. Now, you mentioned Coach Mike White. I know he's got a Florida background. I'll just start right there. And that style of play that they have. And when I look at Noah's game from just observing myself, I can see where it's like, as he plays in transition a lot. Florida, they would play in transition. The guard. What is it like, Noah, playing for Coach White? And with you being the guard, did he sort of give you the reins to just sort of do what you wanted to do and totally feel comfortable this particular season and score the basketball? Because I know he's had players that can put the ball in the hole in recent years.
My role changed a lot. Like I was still a leader, one of the older guys on our team. Mm-hmm. But I went from being a point guard primarily where I had the ball like I had one of the highest usage rates in the country being at
Mhm.
Niagara. I'm talking about the entire game, the ball was gonna be in my hands.
Mhm.
To now learning to have to play off without the ball. So
Mhm.
it was definitely a tough transition at first, but I understand basketball. So I was able to change my game and the way I play to fit that system.
Mhm.
But it was fun, just being in SEC, like, arguably one of the best conferences in the country, and being able to play my game. You see a lot of guys that go from the mid-major ranks to the high major ranks, and they struggle because they're so used to being the best player on their team. And when they get around other really good guys, they
Yeah.
can't transition. And other things, we go from playing against 6'6" centers to 7'1" centers, guys that can touch the top of the backboard and go get it. So those was the tough parts at first. But at the end of the day, it's still basketball. Once I got comfortable, it became fun. And one of my closest friends, Justin Hill, is from Houston. He played there as well. So that was another reason why I picked Georgia. We played AAU together as seventh graders, and being on the visit with him again and rekindling that a little bit was cool. That's all I really needed to see. And I feel like when I'm comfortable in the situation, that's when I'm gonna play my best.
Absolutely. Shout out to Coach Mike White at the University of Georgia men's college basketball. We always love to get courtesy um, recognition to the university. For a lot of these athletes, I get interviews. I got permission from the university. So we always want to give shout out to UGA and the Bulldogs. Listen, now the University of Georgia, I'm going to keep it real with you. I'm family. You got, let's see, is it yourself? I want to make sure I pronounce these names correctly, Leon. Sanava and Tashiwe. I think, I don't know if I.
You talking about Russell Chiwa and
Yeah,
RJ Sunahara?
I think that made everybody that you guys lost at Georgia, along with 10 transfers,
Right.
in the portal. I guess the point I'm hitting on is that you lose a few and then you lose guys to the portal, right? What's
Right.
your expectations for Coach Mike White and Georgia basketball moving forward? I mean, I think is it Demari Jr. and
Silas
James
Dimmer. Silas
and
Dimmer Jr.
Demery. And
Yep.
then, yeah, those guys will be back. But what's your thoughts on the future of Bulldog basketball?
Well, I mean, it's tough every year just because of the transfer portal. You don't know what teams are going to look like in reality until about January, February. And why I say that is because when you have a team with 10 new guys every year, which is how it's going to be, except the teams like Duke, Kansas, Kentucky, those type of teams, they'll keep their guys for the most part just because of the lineage behind those teams. But it's almost like playing pickup basketball, AAU basketball. So with Texas and Oklahoma coming in, I think it'll be 10 NCAA tournament teams this year. Do I think Georgia can crack inside that top 10? Yeah, I think so. They got Dakota LaFew coming in from Mount St. Mary's, first team all league in the MAC, just like I was. Deshane Montgomery, another guy that came from the MAC. So RJ Godfrey from Clemson, Justin Abson from App State, who blocked 3 shots a game. So I think they filled the holes of what we lacked when I was there. And that was, interior defense, shot blocking, rebounding. They have a guy that should have been McDonald's All-American this year, Asa Newell, a guy that can be potential one and done player, really talented, skilled, played at Montverde with a lot of really good players. So he knows how to play basketball. So and I think Silas, Blue, and Dylan are only going to keep getting better. They're going to be sophomores. They've been thrown in the fire as freshmen. We talk about 2 freshmen that played over 25 minutes a game. For the last 12 games of the season and even our NIT run. So they hit huge shots during our run at that time. So I think they'll be challenged at first. They're going to play a tougher schedule this year, I think. And then I think by SEC play, they'll be ready. I think they can get a couple of those teams in there and they can sneak some wins out against some teams. we just got to see. You never know with this stuff, man. But I hope, they do what they're supposed to do and get Georgia, basketball like the football program is. So
when you got to Georgia, a lot of people like these questions to be asked. They want to hear about it in the world that we're living in today. It is evident that you guys, you just completed your 4 or 5 years of college. You guys are professionals now, okay? When you got there, can you speak a little bit about the NIL and the name, image, and likeness and how that applied to you, for us? And also, we'll go take the next question, as you know, and I'm going to have your dad chime in. As a father, what it's like sort of being there for his young son, guiding him through that. Can you speak a little bit about that, you guys?
Well, like I said, to go back to Niagara, like I did not want to leave Niagara at all. I was the man, 20 points a game, entered the NBA draft, getting all this good feedback back. So I'm like, let's just try to do it again. But, and now that I'm not in college anymore, I can really speak on it. Yeah. High major teams poach mid-major players. So after about game 20, we started getting calls from schools. I'm not going to name those schools, but we started getting calls from schools. And it's funny because actually none of those schools are the schools that we were even considering when I picked the school. And like I said, one school called my mom and said, we have, almost $200,000 for Noah if he commits right now. I don't know about everybody, but my family, we haven't seen that type of money ever. So, my mom and my dad, my dad said he would enter the portal as soon as we lost our last game. That was
within 5 seconds.
Yeah. So, but like I said, I'm big on relationships. I'm big on family. And I played with this coach for 2 years. I love GP. I love Coach Kev. So I just couldn't do it. I was like, I don't know. I can't leave them. Like, I feel like I'm going to put them in such a bad situation. But, after my mom, telling me like, Noah, I'm not going to let you turn down these opportunities. We have to do what we have to do. And it's crazy. This NIL stuff is crazy. I mean, I was blessed, to receive over 6 figures, well over 6 figures and play college basketball. So it was almost like I was a pro in college. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But it taught me a lot. It taught me that just as quick as you didn't have it and now you do have it, you could lose it again. So, my mom, my dad, my AAU coach, Coach Ken, they sat down with these coaches and they kind of, lobbied for me to get this type of money. And, it worked out for me. And now to be 23 years old with, some money in my pocket a little bit, now going overseas where I don't have to really worry that much if, something happens to my mom or my dad, I can just say here, take it, do what you have to do. And so I was blessed, they should have been paying guys. I do think they need to put a cap on it, a salary cap on it, because it's now turning into, pay for play. It's not really what college should be about, in my opinion. I think that a lot of coaches are going away from, building these boys into young men, turn them into young men. I think now it's about what can you do for me? Can you help me win a championship? And can you help me get paid as well? So I think they need to change that aspect a little bit, but I do like that guys are able to receive some money. So
appreciate you sharing that, you guys. Leon, can you comment a little bit about that?
Well, honestly, man, coming from my situation in college, we struggled, right? So you had to hustle to do whatever you had to do to make sure you had money. So I think that the new system is really, really good. I think that they need to put some guidelines on it, be able to cap, because now every college can't compete with the colleges that have the real money as far as getting players. And those kind of schools will compete for the best talent. And then also, I think they have to put something on it, because now you have players not worried about playing time as much as they're worried about how much money they're going to get, right? So, and then, if you come from a real challenge situation, you have parents that's involved that's wanting this and wanting that, and there's so many other deals that can be made to where the big schools, the people with the money, man, they can kind of control the situation. So I just put some guidelines on it, man. Some federal guidelines that go across the board, because the big money schools, they'll be able to buy all the players. Like
I
Kentucky.
appreciate you. Yeah.
So
wow. I appreciate you guys sharing on name, image, and likeness. And you sitting here listening to a father and son who's living it and has been in it. Noah has sat here and stated that although I was in college, I made over six figures, high over six figures, and I feel blessed. But there needs to be some type of cap, is what I'm hearing. There needs to be something done in terms of like, some type of, some regulations, because it can get out of hand. We living in that times where people are trying to do everything they can to win. And as you can see how he speaks, how Noah speaks, is to him is how he's been raised. It's just a reflection of how he's been raised by his parents. And he's basically saying, keep it street terms here for the younger audience, is that he wants a bag, but he's not chasing the bag. Because all money, as me and Leon, all money's not good money.
That's right.
Even in athletics, you don't want to be held hostage to anyone, even for a price, if you don't have to be. So with that being said, the next thing in there, Noah, can you mention any of the jobs that you did under name, image, likeness, something that you did and it was just so much fun that you really enjoyed doing it and building that relationship with the company?
So I tell this story all the time. I actually did not do any NIL deals, not at Georgia. I did some at Niagara where I would post different, ads on my social media, and then I get probably paid $20 or something like that. But that's not how my NIL situation was at Georgia at all. It was more just about, we had a collective, and this is where I think is hurting.
Collective. Okay.
This is where I think is hurting college sports, because all collectives is just, can we raise money from rich people, donors who sit courtside at our games and show up to all the events? Can they dump enough money in to go get a basketball team or football team or whatever? So for me, I didn't do any deals. Like, we had certain guys on our team that got deals. Our younger guys that, weren't probably making as much money as some of our older guys, they would do deals where they have to go do a car wash, or, Powerade might, send them some stuff. But for me, I just would have to post this one thing on social media and then I get my money every month. So, I didn't really do any NIL deals.
Yeah,
I wish I did some, though, but I didn't.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, because a lot of people don't know the difference. There are NIL deals. Of course, I've had other athletes on the show, but recently, as last year or so, Deron Holmes was on the show, University of Dayton. He'll be back, him and his family. And shout out to him. He's going through that Achilles injury, drafted by the Denver Nuggets right now. But he spoke about NIL. And that he had NIL deals, but they explained, his father, right, explained that Big Deron said that what you said, the collective is just basically a pot of money, Leon, right?
Yes.
And they come together and they just give money. That's the thing right there that's so hard to really monitor, because a lot of people, I don't know if anybody, but a lot of people could come together and just come up with these big bags, and that's what a lot of athletes are getting. And I'm proud of them. I'm for all the money that they can get, but like you say, there needs to be some kind of some type of monitoring going on.
Well, I think that the main thing is, like, you got kids or dudes that I know, guys that have went, and my dad can vouch for this because I've never done anything like this in my life. You have guys that go on visits and they say, I think I'm worth this amount of money. Who are you? We're not pros. Yeah, like, I average 20 a game, but I don't even know if I can fix my tongue to say I'm worth $600,000. Like, who am I to say something like that? And you have guys that are making $2 million in college. that I played against. And I'm like, he's getting $2 million. I wish I had another year because I would have made a lot of money as well. So, but I think for the guys that are younger, like freshmen and sophomores, they don't know what it was like before NIL.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was more competitive before NIL, just of like dudes cared more. I mean, like my freshman year was the first time the transfer portal really blew up. And it wasn't for money. It just dudes just wanted to go somewhere and hoop. Now kids are averaging 15 points a game at Missouri, which is an SEC school, and are going to Kentucky because Kentucky can get them $3 million in their mama house in Lexington. And that's just what it is. So I think we're going to start seeing a lot of regulations and guidelines on this stuff. So I'm matter of fact, I know that this is going to happen because it's going to get out of hand. It's going to get even worse.
Also, I feel like NIL will get a lot of coaches fired sooner because if those big time boosters are putting X amount of dollars in the product is not what they thought it would be, they're going to move some coaches because they're going to get the next person in. That, you know, it's just like Calipari from Kentucky. He went over to Arkansas. Arkansas got a whole bunch of money.
Yes. More money than Kentucky.
Yes.
Right.
And so he's got to go over there and be successful. So we're 3 or 4 years in and he's not, producing. They don't have a problem paying the buyout.
Absolutely.
And the thing about him is I think that his goal is not to win basketball games. So his goal is to produce as many pros and change these young kids' lives, which I respect it. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to win a national championship in college. So
especially with freshmen.
Yeah. So I played them. Them kids are really good. I will say that. But let's say if we play them in March where it's an elimination game, we're not at Rupp Arena. I don't know if they beat us. You know, I just don't know because they're young. And I think he's going to have to change that philosophy if he wants to win games because Arkansas is about winning. If you're not winning, they ain't coming to the games. So they're not going to dump money into that collective over there. They got to win games. So they ran Musselman out of there because they weren't winning. And they were going to Sweet 16s and he has one bad year and they get rid of him. So I don't know. That's just, you know.
Yeah, Musselman was getting them in the tournament year after year. It looked like the portal was actually working to me, but then they got rid of them. Like you say, if you don't go a certain level and you're spending all that money, like your dad say, it could result in some coaches going out the door. Now, since you have, now I want to ask you this. When you were in the SEC, Noah, and you left, and you moved up from the MAC, was it just a matter for you because it looked like the transition was very smooth for you? Was it just the bigger facilities, bigger arenas? What was the adjustment? Because it looked like you had a very smooth transition.
The adjustment was probably my easiest one because I was 22 at the time. You know, like I'm a young man and kind of have figured out how to be a good basketball player at this point. But it's always different or difficult when you got guys that if they were at Niagara, they would be really, really good as well. Not to say anything about my guys in Niagara because they were good basketball players too.
Yes.
But my second year, I knew it was time to leave based on my play. It got to a point where, you know, a bad game for me was 18 points, 19 points. And my coaches were like, dude, that's not good enough, you know. So I just knew that I needed another challenge. I didn't want to leave, you know, but you have to see. I wanted to see how good I really was. So I mean, at first the facilities, yes, I got lost every single day. I used to show up like 50 minutes early for meetings just so I would know where I'm going. I mean, we're talking about Stegman Coliseum, and that's like a 4-story, you know, like facility where like we have like our mental health on the 3rd floor. We have our locker room on the second. We have 2 locker rooms. Like, so, you know, our weight room we have 2 weight rooms in our facility. So he could say, hey guys, meet me in this weight room. And the first couple weeks, I didn't know where we were going. So I used to just follow my teammates everywhere. I would get there really early and I would just try to figure it out. I didn't want to be late. So all of it was different though. You know, at Niagara, we rode on the bus 7-8 hours every game. At Georgia, we flew private, you know, flights, charter flights. So just even like the the fans, really knowing you at Georgia, if you put on that G, it's real. I mean, my dad was telling me when I was in the portal, like if you play for Georgia, dog, that's something. So, I'm even when I'm home in Houston and you see people with a Georgia shirt on, if I'm wearing a Georgia shirt, they recognize me and ask for pictures. And, that's just how I love it. This is crazy, man. I can't even, like, going to football games I can't even explain it. I don't even want to talk too much about it because I miss it so much.
Speaking of football, let's go translate me into your dad for a minute. Then we're going to come back and we're going to close out with this new career that you're getting ready to start, right? Into your professional level in your life, and what those goals and aspirations are going to be for you, Noah, over in Turkey. Everyone, he signed the contract. He's a pro now. He's a professional. He's a young man on his way, his journey to Turkey. And we're going to get into that. But Leon.
Yes, sir.
Leon Thomasson, Rolfe High School football cornerback superstar. Take us back. What was one of your more memorable games that you can remember in your high school football career that you played in where you starred and you guys won?
Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you this, how it really, really started. I tell this story all the time. At your alma mater, Fairview, right?
Okay.
All right. So in Dayton, back then, as a sophomore, you don't really start. There's not a lot of guys that start varsity football as a sophomore.
Right.
You have to be kind of special. It just doesn't happen. And so as a sophomore, I was playing and this is crazy, it's a JV game. I was playing a JV game over at Fairview, the old field right behind Fairview.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an early game, it's in the afternoon. And I have like 4 touchdowns in a JV game. Probably like 2 receiving touchdowns, a punt return, interception for a touchdown. And at the time, Groundhog, he lived in that area. You know Groundhog, Coach Montgomery. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. He stops over for the game, and he was like, Leon, let me tell you, we getting ready to get on the bus. He like, look here, man, we're going to go ahead and start you on Friday night on varsity. I don't play the game on Monday. I'm starting on Friday. That was the game that took me to, the legend that whatever it was, whatever. Right. And, we had a lot of games, a lot of big games with a lot of those legends that that I played with. But that game alone was the game that propelled me to that. Now, there was a game we played my junior year where I knew I was going to make all city that year. We had a game in Cincinnati, and the team we were playing had a special little goal line route that they were going to run with the tight end and Groundhog all week. He said, man, that's your route. You got to drop that. You got to get that. And they ran that play, and I got an interception. I said, okay, I got it now. And in Dayton, the all city stuff comes out, man. You got your name in the paper and your picture. You go down to Dayton Daily News and you take pictures and all of that, man. So those particular moments kind of got me over the hump a little bit because I played with some, you know how it was or where we were, man. You know what some this is.
Phenomenal players. There it is. Y'all see it. Dayton Rolfe. Talk about if you can name a couple of them phenomenal players. We know about the Kennedys and the Byers and the Dardens and the list go on and on.
The Rod Sneeds of the world, the P. Sharps. But I'm gonna tell you this though, man. My favorite player of all time, he played with me, is Chuck Taylor.
Chuck Taylor.
I love Chuck Taylor. I love Chuck because Chuck was a star at Patterson. He came over to the Evil Empire and played with us, but he accepted his role, man. And I was like, golly, I thought that was big because he was a glue guy. And he kept our team together, and he just was cool. He was just being a part of that thing, man. I just love Chuck, man. I love Walter Selden. Yeah, Keith Byers, obviously. Juan Mosby is my best friend.
Yes,
and so those were, and the great thing about Rolfe is, we all were very, very tight. We're still very tight. So that was, but I love Chuck Taylor though. Chuck was my guy, man. There's a quick story. When Chuck was transferring over, his father brought him over to the practice, and practice stopped when he got there. And it was like, that's Chuck Taylor, And Groundhog went out and talked to his dad a little bit. And if I knew it, he was on the team, man. And he just was a glue guy. He played wherever you you asked him to play and he played well. So that was my guy.
I can see why we heard his name ringing so much in that football. But then again, like I said, I was done with football. After my sophomore season, I focused on just basketball. And he there, I had to bump into him out there on the basketball.
Charlie T, man. Yeah.
Playing varsity as a sophomore myself. And and there was, like you said.
And when you know in basketball, you know about William Colston.
Oh, come on.
The legend of William Colston.
Yeah, went to Hawaii. Welcome, aloha. I'm going to Hawaii.
Listen, Willie C was a legend on two levels: basketball and that other stuff we don't want to talk about. Legend, man. Those are my guys.
Oh my gosh, man!
Those are my guys.
Loaded, and Coach Haley over there, Coach Montgomery, all of those guys. Coach Porter, I've had him on the show.
Yeah,
Coach Bobby Porter, and I hope to have him back. I know he's got a trailer out. I got to watch it. Or whatever I need to do, purchase or something, a documentary on Coach Porter's life. If you want to shout that out, if you guys seen that, I don't know, but I seen it somewhere. It came through my feed.
Yeah, he's got a documentary. So I guess when he was coaching out in Utah and that kind of thing.
Yeah, he set records out there.
Yes, Utah of all places.
In Utah, but look what he came up under such good coaches, so it did surprise me one bit.
Right.
It did surprise me one bit. Now, Leon, tell us a little bit about your journey from Rolfe High School, because I had another Texas Southern legend on the show out of Dunbar High School named Johnny Cole. Tell me a little bit about how it was for you over at Texas Southern and the HBCU experience that you had.
Quick story, man. I originally was going to go to Howard. Okay. Me and Chuck Taylor was going to go to Howard.
DC.
Yeah, and we went out for a visit, but the next week we visited Texas Southern with the late Nate Kimbrough. I don't know if you know Nate. He came down there with me, and the weather was 85 degrees in February. So I just came from DC the week before where it was snowing, and then it's 85 degrees down there. So I said, man, I'm going to Texas Southern. And I had my struggles early on at Texas Southern. A lot of it I was homesick, because you know how we do in Dayton. We get homesick, and I wanted to come home, and my mother, she wouldn't allow me to come home, and I had to tough it out. I had to tighten up that chin strap a little bit, and then also cats in Texas was like, you guys won't hire, y'all can't play no football. That's all I need to hear right there.
Oh, wrong thing to say to us.
That's all I need to hear, man. So just fought a little bit, played hard, played well, and as a junior, I started and was able to make all conference and Division I AA All-American, and that kind of thing. So just worked hard and stayed. Again, I wanted to go home. I wanted to, You remember that. Listen, you remember that famous summer that me and you had.
Yeah.
Right? That was my freshman year.
That was your freshman year.
I had come home, man, and we went through all what we went through. Yeah. And I went back to school. I never came home for a summer. Because I had to try to make that thing work, man. I tell people all the time, I didn't play as though nothing, man. I went to school for 2 reasons: to play football and try to get an education. That was it.
Yeah.
So absolutely. I was fortunate enough for TSU, and met Noah's mother, and I mean, we got a fantastic son, man. A dude that we're gonna be proud of, man, for a long, long time.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Now talk a little bit about your opportunity that you got to play with the Atlanta Falcons in the NFL.
Well, the way it happened, I made all conference and Division I AA All-American. And I played in an all-star game called the Freedom Bowl All-Star Classic. And it's like a black college all-star game here in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. And I got most valuable player of that game. I had about 3 interceptions and got a big trophy. And after that, man, I started getting deals. I thought I was going to get drafted. I didn't get drafted. So when Noah didn't get the draft situation or the invite, I understood how he felt totally. And I called him a couple of days and he didn't really want to talk. So I let him have that. I was like, okay, I know how you feel. Because everybody's telling me you're going to get drafted from the 3rd round. I didn't get drafted. But they gave me a deal on draft day. I went to camp, got cut, brought back. And after a while, you kind of just, you move on. But I had a chance to at least be on the NFL field for a period of time, man. So that was
absolutely,
it was big for me. You know, it was big for me. So
opportunities that a lot of people, I tell people, some of these opportunities, whether they're short stints, long stints, or if it starts here the journey and ends in a bigger area, it's all worth taking in. And everybody hasn't walked in everyone's shoes.
Well, you know, the good thing about it is that situation helps me now more than it ever did, because I can speak to my son about how to go about approaching it. And, you know, and we talk, just keep working, you know, because I could say the draft thing was disappointing, and he, you know, he probably was down a little bit because there are guys that he's killed that was in summer league.
Right.
I saw him kill him. You saw his highlights, and he wasn't there. But just like his coach up in Niagara told him, he said, you might have to go the scenic route to get there. But he's good enough to play. He's worked his ass off. So, you know, it is what it is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, taking us into the last journey you become. It's the last journey because we start off as kids just playing basketball or playing football. And then the next thing you know, we're in the grade school, and it goes to each level. But now, this is the end. You're a grown man, Noah Thomasson. You're now out into another, not just world, you're in another country now. Tell us what it was like to sign your first professional contract. If you want to discuss numbers, you can. If not, don't worry about it. Everyone knows, a lot of people know, but not everyone. I know that when you get overseas contracts, a lot of times they offer you incentives like cars, apartments, and things like that. I know that they don't have a lot of taxes in this type of thing, or some countries no taxes even at all. And a lot of athletes love that perk about playing overseas. Talk about the language. Is there English? Is that one of the first or second languages over in Turkey? And how your adjustment may be. And just moving into that Turkish league, and that whole, I guess you could call it another world for you. Are you ready to take that on? And what was it like signing the contract?
I mean, it was a blessing. You know, not a lot of people get to play. Obviously, people don't get to play in the NBA, but, you know, some people don't even make it overseas. And it was a long summer, really, really long summer. You know, I got the opportunity to work out with the Lakers. You know, I'm thankful for them bringing me in. Yeah. So, you know, like my dad said, he had a chance to be on the NFL field. I got a chance to, you know, be in the NBA practice facility. Yeah. You know, my favorite team right now, you know, LeBron's my favorite player. So to see, you know, kind of where he goes to work every day and get to work out with that team, you know, meeting Rob Pelinka, and, you know, it was a blessing. You know, I never thought in a million years, you know, the kid from Richmond, Texas, that was, you know, told he was never gonna play Division I basketball, worked out for an NBA team. So I'm thankful for that opportunity. You know, like my dad said, the summer league thing didn't go where I wanted to go. So, you know, we just kind of waited out. You know, my mom, like I said, she's brilliant. Mom, if you're on here, I love you. You know,
yeah, she's fantastic.
Yeah. We had a deal to Slovakia. It was done. Contract was sent to my agent. You know, he kind of wanted me to take it. And she didn't think I should take it. You know, she felt like, you know, I should be playing somewhere else, you know, and there's nothing wrong with the, you know, league in Slovakia. You know, we just kind of wanted to go somewhere where it can help me potentially get back to the States and play, or, you know, keep raising my stock as a European player. So a couple of days after that, we had that conversation with my mom, and, you know, my dad kind of, you know, I told him about what was going on. The first division team in Turkey, called my agent with the contract, like, hey, like, we really like him, and we want to try to get him up here ASAP. And you know, what do you want to do? So, you know, I took a couple of days, slept on it, you know, looked over it, and, you know, the deal was a lot better than what I was going to be making in Slovakia. And you know, they tell you, our college coaches told us the whole year, guys, if you don't play in the NBA, you're going to make $1,500 to $2,000 a month your first year playing overseas. So fortunately, I won't be making, you know, that type of money. I was blessed to get a really, really good contract for a rookie. And so, you know, we signed it, and, you know, ever since then it's been great, you know, just knowing I'm going to be a professional basketball player. I don't think I'm going to say I'm ready for it, because me personally, I'm not going to say I'm ready for something that I haven't been to yet. You know, I think I'm excited, and I think I'm going to work, and I think my game is going to speak for itself. But I am going to a tough league, a league where most rookies don't go to, American rookies don't go to. They got guys in that league like Stanley Johnson, who played in the NBA, Jordan Nwora, who's just left the NBA, that's going over there. So, Andrew Harrison, a guy I grew up looking at, played at Kentucky. So it's high level basketball. And, if I go over there and do what I'm supposed to do, I think this can be life changing for me and my family. So I'm excited. I leave out on Tuesday, and when I get there, it's time to work.
Oh, absolutely. The thing with playing basketball overseas, from my understanding, I've had many guys on the show that's played professionally overseas for a number of years. And the thing is, you got to get with the right club. You got to have the right fit. There can be some teams that offer money and they have contract negotiations and agree to such and such. And then they end up players, you hear them complaining they have problems. It's because of the team maybe wasn't in the right situation financially. But they say when you get with a club overseas and that team is together, Leon, and they got everything running smoothly, and you getting your check and you getting paid all the time. Just like I said, I got guys overseas that they say I would never even, and some of them aren't even coming back to America because, again, the cost of living in terms of taxes, the crime rate is low. The way they live in it is just a lifestyle that they grew to love that's different from the United States. What's the language barrier? How's that going to be for you over there, Noah?
Well, I haven't done that much research. Like I said, this deal kind of came quickly. So for me, it was just about, okay, let's sign it. And then when I get there, we figure it out. The good thing is I have been out of the country before. I've been to Europe before. I've been to Italy. I've been to Ireland. And I've even, visited Canada when I was living in New York. So I'm okay with change. Like I said, I say it all the time. Going to Kansas and going to New York and going to Georgia, leaving home has helped me for this moment right here. We're talking about a 15-hour flight. I'm going to be there 9 to 10 months. The time zone is going to be crazy, but I've dealt with adversity and I know I'm going to be okay. As long as I know my parents are good, their health is good, and they can watch my games whenever they're at work or whatever they got going on, I'm good. This is my job. So I'm ready to go work. You know what I mean? My mom says you ain't grown until you start paying your own bills and you have a job. So now I have a job. Yeah. So I'm excited. I was ready to be done with college. I love college, but I was going on 23 years old, man. And being in a locker room with 18-year-olds and 19-year-olds, you eventually you just have to move on. So when we lost our last game, it wasn't no emotions. I wasn't emotional at all. I just said it's time. It's just, eventually you got to move on to the next chapter of life.
Absolutely. I know that Dr. Linda Mitchell, we appreciate you chiming in tonight. Also, Clarence Dart, and he just basically said Noah is awesome, and I guess that chip off the old block. He's talking about
chicken.
His good buddy Leon Thomas.
Chicken taught me him and Ivory taught me everything I know, man. They got me. They should get me ready, man.
Him and Ivory Kennedy.
Yo, Ivory was my guy, man. They got me ready for Friday night at Welcome Stadium.
Absolutely.
I've seen that stadium. It's a nice stadium too, man. Like shout out Dayton, Ohio, man. I'm not from there, but shout out.
No doubt.
Shout out Dayton, Ohio. We always gonna shout out the DYT.
I love it, man. We play University of Dayton, man. Just seeing how those fans get behind their team, and they were loaded when we played them. They had Obi Toppin and Jalen Crutcher, Ryan Mikesell, Trey Landers, all those guys. So they were loaded, man. They would have won that championship that year if COVID didn't.
That team was the team that's when COVID hit and everything else. That team, I think, finished 29-2 that year. Whew.
They lost to Kansas. I can't remember who else they lost to, but we were winning at halftime. So I don't know what their coach said, but they took it up another level on us and they beat the brakes off us. But unbelievable opportunity to get to play in front of my family and meet some family and stuff like that. So like I said, I wish they would have recruited me a little bit after I left Niagara. I would have thought about it a little bit, but I kind of wanted to go Power 5.
Man, you'd have went to Dayton with that last name, man. They'd have took care of you up there, man.
That's what I was saying, man. I'm like, no, that would have been all right. But
yeah, they'd have took care of you, man. All you had to do was say you was my son, dog. You would have ate for free every day, man. Oh, yeah. Your money wouldn't been no good in Dayton, man. I'm telling you.
I'm very thankful, like I said, to have my dad that did play a sport, and he has all these stories to tell me. It used to be so cool going back to Texas Southern as a kid, homecoming, and they're calling him Slice and all that stuff. Like, that's cool. I feel like I used to brag on it all the time. Just the little things like Little League football wanted to wear his numbers. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, it's very cool. And like I said, I use him as a resource when I'm going through this process as well, just to how to do different things and stuff like that. So, and then my mom's more of my critic. She's gonna say, Noah, you stunk it up today, son. I'm just gonna tell you that 100%. But then again, when I play well, she said, I'm proud of you. So I think that dynamic is great because he's gonna tell me good game, and if I don't play well, he might not talk to me that night because I'm probably mad at myself. But my mom's gonna call me right after that game, and she's not gonna say nothing. She's learned to not say anything until I mention it. So if I say, yeah, it was just a tough one today, she's like, well, no, you didn't do this and this and that, and then we'll argue for a little bit, and then 5 minutes later, it's like, all right, mama, I love you. I'll talk to you later. So, like I said, I'm very thankful to have two wonderful parents, and I hope they get out to Turkey to come see a couple of my games, and I can't wait.
So listen, but I gotta add, what did the chicken say over there? He said something about, oh yeah, we already know from day one. Come on, he said from day one, Leon was just ready for the field. Come on.
Chicken always told me I grew up very fast. Like I was ready to, like early on, I was
ahead of your time.
Yeah, I was ready to go early.
Yeah.
I was ready to go early. I really wasn't, man. I faked it really well, man.
You faked it very well.
Yeah, I faked it really well. Yeah.
You faked it very well. Noah, as we near the end here, your goals. I know you just everything happening so fast for you, and I know you're very excited. This is an incredible period in your life right now. Moving on your journey to Turkey, do you have any goals other than, I guess, getting in there, being one of the rare American rookies to get into the top league in Turkey, right? Is there anybody you want to go up against that in the conference already, or one of their top players, or is it just that you want to get on a team, win, prove yourself, and see where it takes you from there? And then do you still have aspirations of making it to the NBA, which I already know and feel that you can play in the NBA? You just need the right team and right fit.
Well, I mean, for my goals, I try not to look too far in the future, just take it one day at a time. This is a new chapter in my life. It's just like when I came out of high school. I don't think it makes sense to say, oh yeah, I'm gonna average 20 and this is like, come on, bro. You don't even know what you're getting yourself into. So there's a lot of NBA guys that play in that league. Like I said, I can't wait to go up against, Stanley Johnson, Jordan Noir. Like I want to see how good I am. I played in the Miami Pro League the other day, and we played against James Wiseman and Will Barton. To play against those dudes and score 20 points in that game, like now I can gauge where I'm at. This summer I played with De'Aaron Fox and Quentin Grimes and Keegan Murray, all those guys, and I held my own. So I know I'm good enough to play. It's just about the opportunity. Of course, I would love to get back and be playing in the States. I just think that at the end of the day, basketball is basketball. Like whether I'm playing in Europe or in NBA, I just think the NBA is just life-changing money, and it's not about money, but the goal, because this is a job, is to be able to set myself up and my children and hopefully my children's children up for, financial success. That, that would be the main goal if I was to make it to the NBA, take care of my money, don't buy anything outrageous and try to save it and build, wealth. That'd be the main thing. So
it can definitely be done. Once you look at the history of playing basketball overseas, there are a plethora of players who then stayed over there and made money and made so much money they didn't even want to come to the United States. In fact, they be calling up Leon and calling up Mama, talking about y'all need to come on down here. We're gonna have the grandkids down here and everybody else. But I tell you another one. When you're talking about the University of Dayton, you know, I had V. Sanford, former flyer, on the show from UD. I had Ryan Perryman on the show, former flyer from UD. They've spent careers overseas, and countless other players. I just can't think of them right now. But you can become the top player, hopefully, maybe even one day in Turkey. And if you become the number one player in that particular league, oh, believe me, yeah. And especially when you get those offers to go to the NBA or go to another particular team outside the league or what have you, they'll do all they can in order to keep you and put the right compensation in your hands. So, like I said, it's just the right fit, right team. And long as they're getting their money the proper way, they could take care of you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like Mike James, it took him 5 years of playing in Europe. And you know, I'm blessed to be able to go to first division Turkey as a rookie. You know, I think Mike James went to like a third division country and he played in the NBA, you know, and now he's the EuroLeague all-time leading scorer. So we're talking about a guy that spent 5 years. He played at Lamar in the Southland, you know what I mean? And 5 years in overseas, and he gets his shot in the summer league and he kills it and he gets signed to a roster. So like I said, I never know. You know, I try to stay, you know, in the present, but if I do what I'm supposed to do and keep God first and keep living the right way, I think it can work out for me. So we'll see.
Y'all hear what he said? Keep God first, living the right way. You listen to Noah tonight, the show, Thomasson, you know, at University of Georgia, and combo guard, now playing, getting ready to start his career right now, just finished at Georgia, overseas, right, in the Turkish league, the Turkish #1 top tier league, you guys. So that's an accomplishment. We're proud of him, proud of his dad, coming out of Dayton, Ohio, as we already know. Dayton has so many wonderful things. They also had some mean streets in Dayton as well. What a success story we got here with this family here, okay? Because this is where it all started from. Even though Noah didn't grow up in Dayton, his dad did, okay? And you see the results of what we produce. And this is what we're proud of. What did Clarence say here? We can send you his continued prayers for everybody, man. And you just wish everybody luck. In terms of your body, before we go, I'd be remiss. I'm in the health and wellness industry. Everybody knows about Sweetheart Mitchell Collection. And for those who doesn't, you know, we've been in business since 2010. We went full time in 2020. So we were almost 5 years in the full time working for nothing but ourselves, me and my wife, with the sea moss minerals, which are in the algae family with seaweed. Scientific fact, people that take this into their bodies, they live longer than anyone else. You can look it up in blue zones where people live that they take sea moss and seaweed. I know as an athlete, I've been talking with a lot of athletes about sea moss and taking the product. And we spoke, you know, about an opportunity for you to start taking some, Noah, and Leon as well. And I know you guys know about, just speak just a little bit about taking care of your body as an athlete, how the minerals can help you, Noah. And do you think with so many athletes, it seems as though as athletic as they are, Leon, you know, they're bigger, stronger than when we grew up, right?
Yes, yeah, much so.
So they get hurt quicker, Noah, for some reason. There's more injuries. And then at the pro levels, a lot of time, I don't know about as much in Europe because, well, that's a whole nother thing. The game's so international. Everybody in Europe, they playing so much basketball. I don't think they're injury prone as much. But here in the U.S., we're having these injuries. And so I'm trying my best to push the CMOS and these packs that I have for athletes. What's your thought on that? And why are so many of these young guys that are bigger and stronger getting hurt these days, Noah?
Well, I'll say the difference between Europe and the United States is the United States AAU basketball, it was a good thing, but I think it's starting to ruin basketball for Americans as well, because there's no more developing guys. So now it's just, we're going to play 5-6 games in a weekend, and then we're going to practice once a week. So where are we getting better at? And we're talking about doing this from the time we're 8 to by the time we get to 18, we done probably played 3,000, 4,000 games. I mean, my dad used to say it all the time. I started playing AAU basketball as an 8-year-old, and I played all the way up to 17 before I went to college.
It's too much.
And then we get to college, we play 30-some games. And then when these guys get to the NBA, now they're playing 82 games, 3 games in 4 nights. You know, you're just you have a higher risk of getting hurt, because when your body's sore and then you try to go play and you land and you tweak your ankle. In Europe, they play once or twice a week. NBA, you might play 4 games in a 6-day span. You know, even though they travel, you know, chartered flights, those flights, I will say, being on a chartered flight, it was cool, but it's not necessarily the best thing for your body. You know, you're sitting up on a plane where you're not really doing recovery. You know, you got to wait till you get off the plane. Then we get back in at 1 o'clock at night. You go home, go to sleep. You didn't do any type of recovery treatment. And then the next day we're practicing, especially for in conference play. We're going to practice the next day.
Hey, let me chime in real quick. If you notice, man, if you look at a lot of the people, the one and done guys, the Kobe's, the KG's, the Jermaine O'Neal's, Tracy McGrady, a lot of those guys, their career ended in injuries at the end. And one of the problems is when you put an 18-year-old kid on a plane and he's still growing every other night, or a 19-year-old kid, that's bad for his joints. If you look at the old guys, the Jordans, the Elijah ones, the guys that stayed in school 3 or 4 years, they were pretty much able to finish later on without injuries because they were able to grow fully. And when they go to college where you're not traveling every other day, that playing is difficult for an 18, 19-year-old kid, man. It really is. It really is.
I like going on planes because, you know, you're on a plane for an hour, 2 hours, but it's not comfortable to sit on a plane after a basketball game. And then, like, most people try to sleep on a plane. You still got all this adrenaline from the game, so you're just sitting there on the plane. And I say, like, being on a bus was bad, but I feel like it's better for your body than a plane at sometimes, because the plane is just not good for you. But, I mean, you got to do what you got to do, but I think we're just playing too many games. Now they're starting to change it where for high school kids, where you go into, like, a showcase division, you might play 2 games in a weekend. But I think it needs to be more practice, and then you play once a week.
I think that the load management, when you sit out 2-3 games and you're even a superstar, maybe a when you come off that, you get back out, it ain't just, you know, basketball is rhythm, you know, and you get out there, and I think that you try to go hard. If you're not exercising, if you're not taking the right nutrients or putting the minerals, like I was speaking about sea moss, which provides 92 minerals for your body, and your body requires 102, and you're eating pizza. Let's be honest, a lot of these athletes, I know it personally, from college to the pros, all they eat is a lot of food that is not healthy for you. With that being stated, if they're not watching their nutrition as well, I think it diminishes the athlete. I think the more you watch your nutrition and take minerals, the best that you can in vegetables and things like that, I think that it will help enhance your game. And, you know, it's just my opinion. I just see so many of these athletes, they jump back out there and then they hurt. You know, they've been sitting 2-3 games. They jump back out there in the pros and then they're hurt again. And I'm like, the fans, they get to the point where you're making all this money. We don't want to hear about you hurt again. You know, we don't want to hear about you hurt again. But I think it's because a lot of time when we was coming up, wasn't no sitting out. Hey, Leon, we was out there playing. Wasn't no load management. We was out there playing, and we played physical. That's another thing. A lot of the athletes don't go through any physical play, right?
I disagree with that in basketball. I still think basketball is physical. I think that back when y'all played, it wasn't basketball. Y'all was just fighting on the court. I played in SEC. That's one of the most physical leagues in the country. I mean, like, after the games, my dad said, I'm banged up. Like, I got ice packs on. I want to go lay down.
I think I don't think they practice as much as we did.
Right.
So you break you kind of break the scab off that thing and practice. And the games were easier because we practiced a lot growing up.
Because you practice, and a lot of them they low managing from the collegiate level in practice. Sometimes
I don't know. No, you can speak to that. No, you can speak to that. What is the practice situation like?
I was a part of the both sides. Like I'm kind of like a tweener. Like I was born in 01. So like guys that are born in 01 as to being born in like 2014, our situations will be different because coming up, we did practice a lot. Mm-hmm. When I got to high school, we stopped practicing. Mm-hmm. My AAU team in high school, we did not practice at all. We just played. But I mean, like when I went to Niagara, I had to like low manage in practice. I wouldn't have made it to the games if I had to practice hard and then play 39 minutes on Friday. Saturday, I try to do some recovery because we play Fridays and Sundays at Niagara. So that means on Friday, I'm going to play 38 minutes. And on Sunday, I'm probably going to play 40. Don't let our game go into overtime and don't let it be a road game because that Saturday, we're going to the next city. And I got to practice that Saturday. And then Sunday, I'm playing a big time game. So I will say at Niagara, I had to sit out at practice. I would just bike or I would get a workout in and then I wouldn't be in all the drills. So that happened a lot when I was at Niagara, especially my second year. When I was dealing with my tendonitis, I didn't practice that much.
We're going to see for about a 2 or 3 month period with you taking CMOS minerals by gel or by capsule. Leon, we're going to monitor and see how his game is, how his conditioning is. And when you go get your blood work done, we're going to see how your charts change. What I've seen for people who continue to take CMOS, if they listen and just listen to their body, and once they go back and check their blood work and they look at their chart, their numbers always go up or down for the positive. We're going to monitor and see just how you feel, because I think a lot of those games where you feel like, oh, I can't play, or in practice, I couldn't go. Now what you'll start to do is you'll start feeling like, man, I'm feeling good. My energy levels are up. The CMOS is helping me with my tendons. It's helping me with my bones. It's helping me with my cartilage in my body. It's helping my mind because CMOS is that detox your brain. A lot of these athletes need to get those heavy metals, out of their brain so that they can continue to have a better, get rid of brain fog and all. All of that can help an athlete as well. It's a thinking game as well as it's a physical game. And how you feel, if you're feeling down up here, it can also affect your physicality. So we just gonna take it slow with you, cuz, and see how it works out for you, because that's just one of my things out here, trying to help the community stay healthy as possible. The cold pressed juices, you're gonna love them, Noah. Oh my! Don't even worry about it. You're gonna love them. Ice cold.
Well, I've done the juicing thing this past spring and summer. It was something that I got into. I like it, man. It's just, at first it was kind of nasty, but you get used to it, and then you feel like you're ready to go all day. So it's something I'm definitely gonna keep doing, for my pro career. The good thing is, like I said, they don't play that much in Europe, every week. We're not gonna be playing 3 or 4 times. Training camp's gonna be hard, but we're gonna get through it. We're gonna be all right. So I'm 23. I'm youngest on the team, so I'm be ready to go. It's gonna be guns blazing when I get there, man.
Sound like an excited pro athlete, y'all. Y'all hearing it right here on Straight from the Source with Dave Mitchell. Listen, Noah, the show, Thomasson, Leon Thomasson. Listen, man, we appreciate you guys being here. We're gonna have to do this again. I'll be getting in touch with you guys soon, man. Listen, I appreciate you being here. Everybody that joined the show, those that will be coming in, chiming in later, we'll let you know what's going on. Listen, guys, I wish you the best. Leon, I'll be talking to you ASAP soon. I'll send these videos out to you guys both. Please get the video and share it. Noah, share it to all your people over there on the Instagram. We are live on Instagram today as well. So just shout out to everybody, man. Georgia basketball, we appreciate you. Niagara University, shout out, right? Houston Baptist, I don't want to miss nobody. Butler County Community College, Rolfe High School, the DY Houston,
That's right.
Texas in the house.
That's right. That's
You know
right.
what I'm saying? You
They
know,
off high school, baby.
is anything you want to say, Noah? Is there anything you doing that you making a profit outside basketball? You want to share? Do they need to go? You want to say your IG, or you want to give them anything?
I kind of got words for encouragement if any young guys are watching this thing, man. Just kind of an insight of everything. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. This stuff took me, 8 years to really start getting to where I wanted to get to in basketball. I struggled, failed a lot, and then eventually worked out for me. Just keep going, keep pushing. And to high school kids, my last thing, if you have a chance to make a decent amount of money, at first, if you're not a 4 or 5 star, go to a small school, do what you got to do. Then go to the big school and get to the bag. Don't try to chase the bag early, because people don't care about what high schoolers do unless you're ranked top 20 in the country. That's all I got to say.
Hey, and the piggyback off of that, everybody know that watch my show. I've been speaking about this for years, Leon. When the transfer portal came in, I told people eventually high school kids was coming out. It's just like, use for example, a kid coming out of Fairview and Rolfe. We don't even want to talk about that. They closed both your dad and my high school, which was the craziest thing they could have ever did, and we don't even want to talk about that. But anyway, these kids are being overlooked, Noah, and I think you see it. You a first team all city league performer, all state performer, whatever. You come out of your high school now. Listen up. You're listening to a professional on the show right now. They're getting bypassed. They'd rather take a kid who played Christian college, NCAA Division III, NCAA Division II, or what have you, or a smaller school, Division I, with experience over a young athlete, unless you're one of those guys that sort of top with all of these stars. It's not to discourage you. What we are here to do is actually encourage you on this show that you should listen to what Noah Thomasson said. Look at the smaller school, because they all have become farm systems now. They're going to pluck you up if you're good enough. You're going to want to go up to another level once you prove yourself. So you just get out here. It's a lot of farm systems. And I hate that, Noah, man. These kids, there's some sharp guys who just coming out of maybe your high school in Texas as a senior this year, but he's going to have to either go down a notch or go somewhere and prove himself, perhaps, just to try to make it to the point where Noah Thomasson is today.
I don't know about at my high school. We're not a basketball school. No, I'm just joking. They got some talent over there, but yeah, I mean, like you said, even my situation, this was before the transfer portal was even crazy like it is. I was ranked top 15 in the city of Houston. That's like high level, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I have one Division I offer, and that's because the school was 10 minutes away from my house, so they can come see me as much as possible. But it's about where you're at, who you play for now, and it's such a shiesty business in basketball that, when I have my children, I'm gonna let them know, like, dude, like, unless you're that guy, like, we're not gonna just focus on a school because of the name, because like you said, like, you can get in a situation where you get there and you may be the 13th man on the roster, and the next year the coach is gonna send you away because you can't do anything for him in that year. So that's all the advice I got. Just pick a school wisely, and when you get there, you kill, man. And you go high major and go back to your hometown and go play for them. That's what I would do. Me personally, if I could do it all over again, I'll do it the exact same way I did it.
Absolutely. Y'all heard it here. We go in this straight from the source. Kids out there, go to the school that you can get into. Go where you go. Me and Leon was coming up. It was first, just get an education. Wasn't it, Leon?
Yeah, man, just get out the city.
Just get out the city.
Yeah, you're trying to get out the city, man.
Your parents or what have you, you didn't want them. They didn't want to spend no money on you, having to pay for you to go to school.
My mother said she couldn't afford to feed me anymore. Mom said she couldn't afford to feed me anymore. So,
We appreciate y'all for watching tonight. It's been a wonderful episode of Straight from the Source. Noah Thomasson and Leon Thomasson joining the show. Y'all have a wonderful one, and I'll be in touch with y'all soon.
All right. Thanks, Dave. All right, show. I'll talk to you, boy.
All right.
Be blessed.
Later, man.
Later.